Hi, welcome to Better on Draft. I'm Wendy. I'm with the Detroit Draft Divas, and I'm really excited today to have an amazing panel of women to talk about drinking while female. I'm going to start with Dani, who is one of the co-founders of the Girls Pint Out Detroit. So if you just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Dani. I'm the co-head of the Detroit chapter of Girls Pint Out. It's a national organization for women who love craft beer and are or want to be a part of the craft beer industry. And I've been with the group for 2 years. And I'm super happy to be with you guys today because you're like my idols.
The bottom row, not me.
Yeah.
All of you have been doing a lot. So I will start with make sure you tell us what you're drinking. I am drinking Rochester Mills Tropical Grenade today. I am in Lima, Ohio for a conference, so excuse the hotel behind me. Dani, what you drinking?
I am drinking one of my favorites, elephant juice from Eastern Market Brewing. That's for you. And I'm in my fabulous home office.
Awesome. Molly, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Molly Daniels. I am a brewer at Railtown Brewing Company. I've been here going on 5 years now. So basically since I moved to Grand Rapids, but we are on the southeast side of Greater Grand Rapids in Caledonia, if you haven't heard of Railtown. And I'm one of 2 brewers here. I kind of started from the bottom. I started as a keg washer and worked my way up. So it's just 2 of us, and we're operating a full brew house here. So it's fun. I am drinking a Railtown beer. I'm here at Railtown, so I'm drinking a Vienna lager that I think it went on tap a couple weeks ago, but it's easy drinker. It's tasty.
Right. And
Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. And I will keep going counterclockwise. Jasmine from Eastern Market.
Hey y'all, I'm Jasmine, Eastern Market Brewing Company, Ferndale Project as well. I guess I'll start off with what I'm drinking too. Oh, I'm a people director for Eastern Market Brewing Company. So hiring, talking to people, hanging out, lots of conversations and events too. Still involved in a lot of event planning on the people side, but a lot of our internal culture and things like that. Doing a lot of hiring right now. I'm really tired. Had a lot of interviews this week. But also jumped on the candy line this morning. That was fun. So lots of variety. Today I am drinking the Blonde Ale from the With Her collaboration beer with Fermenta. Canned this myself. Again, I keep saying the canning thing because I am never on the canning line. But I had the pleasure and I'm like, oh yeah, I canned this. So really excited to be here, really excited to talk. And I'll talk more about this probably, but yeah.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Awesome.
Cheers.
All right. And we'll keep moving on to Megan Turriff.
That's me. My name is Megan Turriff, and my husband and I own a distribution company called M4. And it's M4 is the 4 M's, which is me, Megan, my husband, Mike, and our 2 kids, Matthew and Mackenzie. That's where the name came from.
Awesome.
And we specialize in working with smaller breweries with small batch beer, craft beer, and soda, and meads and ciders, not only in Michigan, but all around the world. So basically, and we've been doing it now. We're going into our 6th year, which is crazy to me because I feel like we just started. But yeah, that's what we do. And I don't have my beer yet. It's in the fridge downstairs, but it's going to be. There's a new brewery in town called Mothfire Brewing. Mm-hmm. And they did a collab with one of our favorite cocktail bars in Ann Arbor. We're in Ann Arbor, by the way, called The Last Word, and it's called the Osborne, and I love it. And so they made Berliner Weiss with lime, I hope I don't get it wrong, cilantro and jalapeno with 2 James gin infused lemons, I do believe. I can't remember.
So I'm the owner and head brewer of Guardian Brewing Company. just made our first lager today. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
That is exciting.
Mexican lager.
Nice.
So,
Lager is life.
oh, I love lager. It's great. I just wanted to get our system going before we jumped into that foray. We just turned 2 in December. We're in Saugatuck. When I'm not working at Guardian, I'm on the guild board, so the Michigan Brewers Guild Board, and I'm the co-chair of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee with Miss Jasmine over there. So
Nice.
and just to kind of round out the trio, I am drinking a Mitten Beanball Blonde. So a little shout out to our buddies in Saugatuck and Grand Rapids, and pretty much any beer with coffee, I'm in. I'm in to try it. It's like totally my favorite, but I really love light beers with coffee. Not that many people make them.
Yeah.
Good choice. That's a tough
And they
one.
call them stouts. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation, Wendy.
Yeah.
It is. We won't get started in that.
Yeah.
What I would like to know from you guys is kind of how you got started in the industry. If we want to start with Molly.
Yeah, so I actually moved to Grand Rapids for brew school. GRCC had just started a program. I had just graduated with my bachelor's degree in political science and was thinking I'm ready for something a little bit different.
Yeah, a little bit.
So, yeah. So I found this brew school and kind of threw all my eggs in one basket, went for it, fell in love with it completely. And I've been in the industry ever since. So I started at Railtown as an intern, and I was bartending and washing kegs, and then slowly moved into cellaring, and then really quickly became a brewer. So it's 2 of us, like I said, operating our whole facility here. So we're busy, but I absolutely love it.
You could come over. I have someone bring me a beer.
Awesome. Yay.
Nice.
Partners, the full sense
I
of the
heard you didn't
word.
have a beer, so I had to bring a beer up.
I heard him come home. I texted him. I'm like, bring me a beer, please.
I'm working on it.
Seriously, I need somebody that I can text to do that.
There it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Ooh,
It's a black can, which is cool.
I want that.
Jasmine.
So it's a Berliner Weiss with, sorry, go back.
Go ahead.
Interrupted. I have a beer. That's all that matters. Go back to your talking. Sorry.
There you
I
go.
interrupted Molly.
Jasmine.
Oh my gosh, that's
How do
good.
we get into the industry? Cool. Yeah. So I am a teacher by trade. I am a 3rd generation educator. So lots of family and education. So when I told my parents, I was like, yeah, I'm going to work at the brewery full time. They're like, there's jobs at breweries? I was like, yeah. Are you brewing beer? And I'm like, no, not too many actually brew the beer at the brewery, which is like a fun conversation with my parents. But I started working at the brewery as a beer tender a summer when I was off teaching, and I liked it so much that I kept working part-time. This past summer, had some more time in my schedule and got more involved with with the brewery and things internally with like our culture and events and community outreach. And eventually they were like, hey, you want to come on full time? And I was like, maybe I'll step out of education. I've been in education for like 5 years and like my entire life really. And really excited to be a part of the industry now, which is really strange because like, I'm like, wow, I work for a brewery full time. This is cool. But there's so many opportunities and I'm learning every day. I get to meet cool people like Kim, like Danny, and like there's all these organizations, so many women, people of color, and like it's been so exciting to be in the industry and be here full time. So yeah.
That's awesome. Beautiful.
Megan.
Me?
How about you?
I'm kind of a wild card. So I was a art director in advertising for a long time. And my husband has always been in the beer industry. We used to live in downtown Chicago. He used to work for a small little brewery you might have heard of called Goose Island.
Just a
Little
little.
one. Like when it was tiny, like literally it was like him and John, and that was it. Like there was nobody else. And so that grew, obviously. This is pre-buying out. So he's been in his whole life. And so we lived in downtown Chicago, and then we ended up they moved us to Minnesota for about, you betcha, for about 2 years. And then we moved to Michigan. And so I'm not a born and raised Michigander. I'm actually from Iowa. And so I was working in advertising and doing everything from, like pharmaceuticals to holiday travel and all kinds of different things. And then we ended up getting pregnant and having a baby. And so I stopped working because I was like, I don't need to sell sleeping pills. That doesn't really do anything for me. I'm not changing the world. I'm not making an impact. And Mike at the time was traveling in 5 different states and we had no family here. So I decided to stay home. And so, but I was still doing projects here or there. And then because he's literally worked in every avenue, he's worked for big breweries, small breweries, worked at the distributor, he's worked in every realm. And then he got the last job, he worked with Northern United and Jolly Pumpkin, and he got to see like firsthand and meet the whole Michigan craft brewing industry. And he just like fell in love with it and got to know a lot of the people. And he just saw that there was this big gap between small breweries and then like Miller Coors, like the two were like there was no help for those breweries that were growing up, like Eastern Market and Guardian and that kind of stuff. And he just really, he came to me, he's like, I want to start a distributor. And I was like, what? Can you do that? I don't even know. I can't even imagine. Like all I could think of was like Miller Coors and 200 case. I was like, I don't even know how that happens. And ironically, it was kind of unique at the time because no one else had done that in years. So we kind of freaked them out when we started applying for licenses and stuff. And so we just wanted to build a distributor that's built from a brewer's perspective, which is not a normal thing. And just work for us. It was, because like I said, we've both been in this for in the work environment. It's like, if you don't love what you're doing, it's like, why bother? And so we're very much like a more the merrier type of thing. And, we sell beer for a living. As I like to say, we sell good times. It's beer. It's like you don't take yourself too seriously, and it's a good thing, and it brings the community together. You gather to drink it, and it's working. And what I love about it most, being my art background, is just like, it's art in a can. It's a living, breathing thing. Like you can take the same ingredients and brew them, and it'll be different every single time, just because of a tweak of the water pH or whatever. And it's, and it's, for us, it's like, you brewers know, it's like, that's part of you. And you know what I mean? And like, you trust me with your baby, and I'm going to do the best job I can to make sure it gets to the right people that will truly appreciate it and represent you the best you can, and not let you fall away like some distributors do. But anyway, so that's how we ended up doing this and kind of breaking the mold. And I'm trying to make people learn that not all distributors are evil incarnate. We're not. I swear. Some are.
That does make sense. Some are. Some are not.
Some are not. Well, because then that's, the liquor laws in Michigan and everything, it's just crazy. And that's the fun thing for me coming in, because I don't know anything. It's like death by fire. I'm learning as much as I possibly can. As like you are, Jasmine, I'm just like trying to absorb everything and learn everything, and while I do it. But the good thing about me coming in from a different background, I'm always like, why are you doing that? Well, that's what everyone's always done. I'm like, that's stupid. And he's like, oh, I guess I really. Like making stuff to make stuff, like promoting events and like making posters. I'm like, you're going to spend $100 to put a poster up that gets thrown away tomorrow. Like, why? There's this beautiful thing called social media, and it's not killing the environment. It's kind of amazing. And, just stuff like that. So it's been a lot of fun. And since it's our business, we can run it how we want to run it, which is awesome.
That's fantastic. And Kim, how about your background?
I feel like this used to be a really short, sweet, cute story to tell. And now it's been 9 years. Like, I almost feel like I'm like the older woman in the room. I'm like, so my background is outdoor recreation and teaching. So I have a master's degree in outdoor recreation, leadership, and motivation. Like, I used to train outdoor leaders and take people on expeditions, and, whether it was like canoeing or backpacking or whitewater rafting or like pretty much anything water or land was my thing. And it was great, but like, people get injured and people could die. And so I'm training all these young leaders at Indiana University, and like, we're still close with them. Like, you create these beautiful bonds, but it takes an emotional toll on you to do this for so many years. So I was with them for like 7 or 8 years. Met my partner Kate in Bloomington, She was finishing up her PhD in leisure behavior. So same department. We were both teaching. We were both doing all this stuff. And she asked the question, what would you do if you didn't do this? I was like, what? Of course I'm going to do this. Like, I'm multiple degrees in. Like, I'm going to do this.
Oh, yeah.
Invested. I can't quit now. I'm in.
So we had this conversation, and I said it would have something to do with like food, like local food, music, or craft beer. And hell if I'm not doing all three right now.
That's
So she got a professorship in Denver, worked out perfect. And I was like, Indiana didn't really have many breweries at that time. Like I left right before like the big surge. And so it's not like there was a job that I could get or whatever there. I had no schooling. I had only been homebrewing. So we moved out to Colorado. I took an MBAA course in Madison, their brewing and malting certificate. And a guy named Eric Rohde at Tommyknocker Brewery was like, well, I can't hire you because you don't have any experience, but once you're done with your course, come talk to me. And I was like, I want to be your apprentice. I want to be your intern. I just want to work here. And so he pretty much like, show up at 5 a.m. tomorrow and you'll start working with Jim. So I worked for free for a while at the wee hours of the morning. And once I started driving the forklift, they got kind of freaked out and put me on part-time. Yeah,
that'll do it.
That's great. And so I was being paid for the work. I mean, like not much, but makes you legit, right? Yep. And then long story short, I brewed for Tommyknocker Brewery. I brewed for Boulder Beer. So those guys closed like last year. Old haunted brewery. Oh my God. I brewed for Epic Brewing in Denver. I brewed for a little place called Barrels and Bottles, little 3-barrel stout system in Golden, Colorado, like right across from Coors. And then I helped out at Wind Coop, which is the first brew pub in the state, right across from the train station before we left. And we always said, like, I was not going to open a brewery until I had brewed for other people. Like I wanted to make sure that I understood this like big commercial equipment and the safety and it's not like home brewing. It's really different. Like I'm a much better professional brewer than I was a home brewer, to be very honest. My home brewer was just kind of So, I wanted to make sure that I understood these things and I, had a good backing on it. Because the goal was always to open a brewery. And we did it. So 2018, we decided that was going to be the time that we opened. 2017, we bought property in Michigan. That's a whole nother story for a whole bunch of beers. We ended up in Michigan and not in Colorado, not in Indiana or Wisconsin or other places that we looked, but we're really happy. I'm like, the lakeshore is gorgeous and our property is from 1902 and it's just awesome. Like we're just constantly finding new things about it. And we're only like built out about 2/3 of the building because it's just so huge. But it's great. I'm like, we're having fun. And yeah, the whole Megan, I'm with you, like being able to do what you want to do. Like there's a bunch of other like ownery things that I'm not super fan of but they have to get done. But like if I say like, we're going to brew up whatever ale, like I'm going to brew up Berliner Weiss with cilantro in it or whatever. That's awesome. Like, it doesn't matter what other people say. Like you want to make it so that you make it. Hopefully your customers will like it. I'm like, our customers love kind of wacky ingredients used well. So we're having a great time. I'm like, we're still, in the early years of it all, but yeah, I definitely feel like 9 years in brewing, it just feels very different than a baby of owning the brewery. I can't believe I'm here. Like, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe we're talking. Like, it's still happening every day. So Michigan's amazing.
We're glad you're here, Kim.
I'm going to come out to Saugatuck and find you.
Yeah, let me know when you're coming.
I've never even been there.
Oh,
Saugatuck's the place to be.
Yeah?
It is fun.
All of you have these really awesome like origin stories. I think they're awesome. And I'm really happy that you all get to do what you love. And I find myself very like impressed and excited by all that, like at the same time. Cause like I'm just kind of getting into figuring out that I don't love my work anymore. I do love my job, but I don't like have a fire for it any longer. But it's still scary. So you've been at this for a while. What kind of like hurdles have you faced? Like, do you ever get like the look, like a lady brewer, like, oh, or like you want to do what now? No, I don't think you can do that. Like, or how you like Megan, like, do you ever get people thinking like you don't know what you're talking about?
Oh yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I mean, for me, what I was going to say is, I love craft beer and I love beer and I love drinking, but like, it wasn't my passion. It was my husband's passion.
Yeah.
So I kind of came into it from left field. Like I said, I'm learning as I go and I'm loving it even more. And it's one of those things when he asked me to start this, I was like, I literally was like, I don't even know if I could do that. Like, are there women in craft beer? Because I've never met any, and any of the things I've ever gone with you to anything. And all you ever do is talk about guys. So it's interesting. So like the very first of, we worked with an importer called Shelton Brothers, and they had a beer festival called Shelton Fest in St. Petersburg, Florida. And so Mike was like, let's just go. And so it was the first time I got to, because a lot of times with beer festivals and stuff, he'd be like, you don't want to go. You don't want to go. Cause he's like, I'm going to be working. It's just going to be a bunch of drunk dudes. Like, you don't want to go. I mean, this is like many, many moons. It's completely changed now from when he started like 20 years ago. Yes, I'm old, Kim. I'm very old. And so,
no.
And I went there. It was super interesting to me because we went to this festival and there was like, and it's wild because you literally have like Mikkel from McKellar pouring your beer for you, and Lauren and John Grimm from Grimm Artisan Ales, who's a married couple, pouring your beers, and you're just kind of like, wait, what? Wait, I saw you. You're the person. You're not like some random volunteer pouring beer. Like I was like
celebrity spotting.
Holy hole. Because I'm in charge. I should have said before, I'm in charge of all of our social media and marketing for our company. And so it's like, I've been seeing you. I was like, holy crap. But what I noticed the most was that some of the best brewers and the happiest people in that room were the people that were doing it with their partners, and the women were involved. And so that was for me, when we first started, it was what clicked in my head. And I was like, this is why he wants me to do it with him. Because it is, beer world it's a different kind of world. You have funky hours. It's a different thing. Like, I can't imagine me having some sort of other 9-to-5 job with him going to festivals and doing all these things and having different hours and doing that. He's like, I want you to do this with me. And so I came in and I've really, really loved it. But oh my God, yeah. So when we started, like, he would literally take the orders. I would pull all the orders and load the truck for him, and he would literally deliver. That's how we started. And so everyone, whenever they made, they were like, oh, like, who works at your company? We're like, us. And they're like, oh, and they look at me and they go, oh, so do you do the paperwork? Everyone assumed that I was, I did the books. That's all I did. And I was like, no, actually, I hate numbers. I don't do numbers. I go, women can lift heavy objects. It's kind of amazing. So yeah, like, I'm literally the one who's putting those kegs on the van. I pull all those cases and they're literally like, wait, what? What? And that's like, yeah. And whenever I'm communicating, like on social media, whatever, or like I'll get messages on Instagram and they're always to Mike. And I was like, it's Megan. I've told you this. You met me. I told you it's me. It's fine. But whatever, it's like, I don't care. I mean, and it's super funny for me, especially like after festivals and stuff. And the guys are all like shooting the shit afterwards. And then I walk by and I'm carrying like 3 empty sixels each in my hands to load the truck to get out of there. And they're like, oh, okay, let's go. There's like a girl walking by with kegs. We're like, okay, okay, we gotta move. Because yes, girls can lift heavy objects. But yeah, I get a lot. And luckily I'm a taller girl. So a lot of people don't say super offensive things to me, but I witnessed it quite a bit. It's unfortunate.
That's awful. I read something about how brewing equipment was kind of designed for men because, it's like the shape and the structure, and it's bigger and heavier. When you went into that program, like, did you feel like you needed to work harder? Or
a little bit. I think I kind of just wanted to prove to myself and to everyone else that I can lift heavy things. Like, I mean, I was in, Kim was talking about Colorado. I was in Colorado right before I started this program.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I was a horse wrangler. So we were doing tough stuff. I'm lifting hay bales. I've always kind of been stronger. So I definitely felt like I needed to, one, work harder and to prove myself. But that's kind of me in any situation. That wasn't just coming into brewing, but it was a little bit intimidating coming into a very male dominated class. And then, you know, once in a while we'd have to, I mean, this was little stuff like lift a 5-gallon bucket of something and dump it in. And I would get, you know, 1 or 2 comments like, oh, you need me to do that for you? I'm like, nope, you can sit there and watch me do it though. You know,
Yeah.
I can handle it just fine. So, and working here, I think I've been, I don't know that I've been shielded from it, but the owners of Railtown and my coworker Josh, like they've never ever made me feel intimidated or that I couldn't do anything. In fact, they expect me to do everything that Josh does. Despite he's, you know, 6'3" and I'm 5'5". So I do think you're talking about the size of equipment too. That just reminded me. Everything is I'm too short for all of it. So we have what we call Molly stools all around that I can reach and do everything. But I mean, I'll do anything and I'll make it work. It doesn't matter, you know, how heavy it is. Like we're still stacking kegs by hand. So I have to be able to do that job, you know, in order to make it work.
Yeah.
Nothing's better than proving somebody wrong.
Right? I honestly, I just love it. It really does.
It's my favorite thing on the planet.
It just feels so good, doesn't it? Just when people are like, and I love when they offer to, and I'm like, no, just watch. This is how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
But
So, Kim, I'm just wondering, how is it different now than when you started?
Yeah, it is. I think that there's a lot of things that are different, but although Colorado is pretty just welcoming in general, and I am not a small woman. I mean, I got these like big old honking shoulders. Like you got to put these to work. So like I played rugby in college. I used to do whitewater paddling, and now I'm like pulling stuff around the brewery. Like it just, I think the second that you meet me, you're like, oh yeah, she can lift heavy things. So like, I don't think that was ever the problem. Now I just think that I get a different vibe altogether because I own a brewery that's over a year or 2 old. And the space is not small. We are small, but like, they're just like, oh, you're the owner. Like, ooh, okay. Whereas like, I tried to meet people and like make connections with like the folks from Michigan who like owned breweries. I don't even know who they were because they're not any of the people that I know now, but people that like worked at breweries. And they were like, oh, that's really cute. You're opening a brewery. Like, we'll see.
So cute.
We'll see if you actually open the brewery. And I'm like, I did open the brewery.
Oh, that's so cringy.
Yeah. So
Cool.
I think it's different in a different way. Like Colorado, there were a pretty tight group of women. We were small at first. I was one of 3 like head female brewers in the state at one point in time. And then our group grew really big and we had women doing every job possible that you could think of. And I don't know, going from there to here was like, if I wasn't an owner here, it might feel a little different, but because I'm coming in as the head brewer and owner, I think once people tried my beer, everybody chilled out. So they were like, well, what does your beer taste like? And I was like, well, just hang on.
Prove it, Kim. Prove it.
That's all they needed was to try it. And then they were like, oh, okay.
Okay. You don't suck.
So it's all different in a different way. I was always about 10 years older than the guys too. So like I'm in my 40s now and like all the guys were in their 20s. So I think people were just looking to hire somebody a little older, a little more mature in that way. Like I was already in my 30s. So I felt like the old woman in the brew house when I was in my 30s, because all the guys were like 21, 22, 18, hoping that they're going to drink someday. Like, just like a bunch of young dudes. Like I felt like I had a bunch of little brothers. So, I mean, some of the guys were older than me, but that's different now too, now that it's been almost 10 years. Now it's just kind of incomparable. I'm like, you could be my child. Okay.
Yeah, the whole legal age to drink thing makes you want to vomit. I just can't even. Every time I see that sign, I just go, oh my God.
Oh, the year? I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
The year you need to be born, you're like, oh my God, I graduated high school. Okay.
I took a reservation for somebody who was born in the end of the year 2000 a couple of days ago, and I was like, you don't remember 9/11? Like that was the first thing I thought of, and I was like, oh no. Anyway.
Yeah.
I know that my path has just been different in that way.
Yeah.
Like my assistant Holly is literally half my weight. So I've been teaching her to work smarter versus like more, thank you, more lifting and things like that. Like everybody needs to figure out how to do it their own way. So
Right.
every time you see that on a brewing application, can you lift at least 50 pounds?
Yeah.
Doesn't say how.
Yep.
So it's all
Right.
about the how.
Right.
Absolutely right.
So Jasmine,
Yeah.
I'm just curious, as the people director, what advice would you have to a woman that is facing issues with sexism in her beer journey?
I mean, my first thing, I hope that you have someone that you can talk to. I'm really thankful that our brewery, we've always had like someone that you can go to. Now we have like an official person, which is me, that you can talk to. But we've always made sure that people have someone to talk to. And I'm an educator. So like I said, teacher by trade. And we've always told students, if I'm not the one that you want to talk to, I hope that you're talking to someone. So yeah, if you're experiencing something, talk to somebody. There's power in numbers. I know if there's like some bullshit thing that happens in our brewery, somebody's going to tell somebody else and we're going to figure it out together. But making that space, it's all about the culture in the brewery. And like the reason I work here is because I enjoy the culture and I'm really excited to like push the culture and empower like what we have going on. But I hope that people have a positive culture where they're at, and folks that don't, like, fuck, like it's a lot. Because like, where are you gonna, like, are you gonna apply to another brewery? Are you gonna get another career? Like, no, you should have somebody that you can talk to in your brewery. So I hope everybody has somebody that they can holler at and solve problems.
Yeah, for sure.
Have any
I
of you
like-
come?
Sorry.
I was just going to say, I love that you mentioned the culture, because that is what drew me into this whole industry. Because, I mean, especially our culture at Railtown, I wouldn't leave it just because I absolutely love brewing, and I love coming to work every day, half because of the people and half because of my passion for beer.
Yeah.
That's why I worked for so many places. I'm like, if the culture's not right, you gotta go find your family, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Find your family.
Absolutely.
For sure.
That was another thing I was going to say. This isn't about sexism necessarily, but like part of the reason why we also started our own company is being able to say things that we want to say. So like the whole, Black Lives Matter and all that kind of stuff, like there are other people in my business that don't even touch it. And so I was like, and I was talking to Mike because I'm doing the social media and the marketing. I'm like, we're covering this. We are making a donation. We are going to be posting. We're doing it. He's like, well, I'm sure a lot of people we work with, aren't going to be happy about that. And I go, I don't care. I'm like, if they don't agree with this, they can buy their beer elsewhere because I don't give a fuck. Sorry, but peace. You're out. Like, I don't care. Like, you will get replaced by somebody else who I actually probably would like more if you disagree with what I'm saying. So I'm like, that's why we started this business. If we can't do that for ourselves, like, why would we do this?
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. You just don't.
And
Working
that's
at all these other places, he's just like, what? You don't do that. You're neutral. You just talk about beer. And I was like, no, we don't. This is our family business. It's our family business.
Yeah.
And our brewers are our family. Like, if any brewery we represent, we call them our family. Like, that is what we do.
Cool.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
And the industry is so young. Like, I think a lot of these things are happening because our industry's so young. There's so many other industries that have solved these problems and have systems and processes and groups and all these things. Like, this industry is so young, and we're like going through this, which is kind of exciting because like you can be like, hey, we're a young industry, and this is what the fuck we mean. This is what we stand for as an industry, not just breweries. Everybody's kind of getting behind, like, this is what it means to work for a brewery anywhere, is that we're accepting. A lot of breweries are really accepting, and it's about community. Like, I can't think of one brewery that's not about community. So yeah, I think it's really cool that this industry is becoming more professional and like growing and figuring out that who we are is about people and community. It's really cool.
And to be fair and honest, I think it's honestly because there are more women and more people of color joining the industry. That is why. Like, it used to be all male guys 24/7. And I'm not saying it's their fault. It's just the whole bro thing is going away, thank God, slowly but surely. So, you know, and I think it has to do, well, that's why what I love about women is like, we just want to get the work done. We want to do it. There's no ego. I mean, yes, there are females with egos, but like in general, like we want to figure out the shortest, quickest, easiest way. No fucking around. You don't have to stroke my ego. It's like, no, I just want to get done and go to the next thing. Well, like,
and make sure everybody else feels good.
I'm like, that's what it's about. And so I just laugh. Yeah. So it's great. I'm glad everything's changing.
That's a good point. Like, women want to get it done. We want to, you know, we want to do it well and do it right and do it like the way that people enjoy it. But have you ever like experienced any kind of like judgment or sexism from other women being in your field, or has it only ever been lifted up? Because it can't always be good, right?
Right. Yeah, of course. Like,
yeah,
of course I have.
Okay.
I think that there's a type of person, and I'll just say like men can be this way too. There's just a type of person that does not like when people are go-getters and they're willing to fail to get where they want to go.
Okay.
And so there's people who are like, I don't know if it's jealousy. I don't know if it's, I don't know what it is, but like maybe they want to do that and they feel like they can't do that. But like there are definitely those types of people, and they are women too. Yeah, when women don't support each other, it's very confusing.
It's gross. I don't really.
Yeah, but yeah, they're out there. Yeah.
Well, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of wired like I don't think I'm the best at everything. I'll do my best and I will try my best, but I always think I can learn more and do more and be better. Like, so, and maybe it's because I did go to art school and we would debate about whether or not this logo worked successfully, and you could literally have 15 different opinions, and it's just like trying to find a common thread to communicate the same message to 15 different people. Yeah. And so like I think people don't like, if they're fine with getting by and being the star that they are with just kind of doing this, and someone comes along like you said and is busting their ass and trying harder, and oh, guess what, that works a little better than what you were doing, and they're just like, whoa, back up, like this is my thing, like and you're like, no, it's like, let's just go, because we all win in the end. It's not about you and it's not about me, it's about all of us. So I think that there is, unfortunately, and especially for me, because I'm not a brewer and I'm not going to even pretend that I know any level of knowledge that you two women do. I'm probably even, you know more than me, because I am a distributor. So it's very, and because I work in a largely dominant male field, and a lot of the females in my industry are show ponies, sales people, what have you, and I'm just not that way at all. So yeah, so it's been an interesting road for me to navigate. But what I've done and what I've always do is you just find what you love about what you do. Like what you were talking to Dani, you were struggling. It's like what I love about it is I get to connect, you know, not only beer with the right people, but I'm connecting brewers together. I'm like getting collabs with friends. Like nothing makes me happier than when one of our brewery does a collab with another brewery we work with, or like, cause everything's like worked. And like we have one of the guys that does the can art for one of our breweries does it for another one, you know what I mean? And I love telling the story, and then working with all the local charities that we get to raise money for, and then all the other small businesses that are just like us, like trying, especially with COVID and everything happening, like that's all we cared about, was like taking care of our community and making sure the breweries were successful, and the small businesses that we love and care for, whether it be restaurants or bottle shops or whatever, that everybody, we're all in this together. We all take care of everybody. And we're so all intertwined. Like it is literally the whole fabric of everything we do, which I love. That's what I'm all about. More the merrier type of girl. That's what we do.
So real quick, we are going to have to take a 10-minute break. But before we go, I want to just do a quick round robin and ask, what is the stereotype of women in beer that drives you absolutely insane?
Oh God.
And we'll start with Dani and go counterclockwise again. And my counterclockwise.
Okay. The stereotype is I have to only have like a fruited wheat beer. I don't like those. Sorry.
Molly?
I think just in my position, the worst thing, and it happens everywhere. It happens at festivals, it happens at conferences. Oh, so you must be the wife of one of the, brewers. Or I'm like, no, actually I'm the brewer. That drives me nuts, but I love to just say it.
Jasmine?
I guess I get a lot I want something that doesn't taste like beer. And I mean, I really like beer, but yeah, the stereotype around like anything that doesn't taste really like beer. I'm like, no, I want an imperial stout, please.
Vodka. Go elsewhere.
Megan?
Well, probably it's not probably because I do the social media and the stuff for us, but like you can be a female and you can love beer and you can show beer, but you don't have to show your boobs. Like all these like influencers, the beer people that are all like, and I'm just like, why? Like, oh my God, you don't have to be half naked to show a beer. Like it doesn't make it any better. Like it's
Absolutely.
It's a battle I discuss on a regular basis.
I have a whole other thing about t-shirt sizes that
Oh my
we won't
God.
get into right now.
No,
But Kim,
You mean like the double extra large female shirt I gave my 7-year-old daughter about, and it was skin tight on her? It was a double extra large. It was like,
yeah,
right.
Kim.
Sorry.
Oh, so many things. So many. I would say that great, award-winning, world-class beer is made by women every day. Every day.
Say it again, Kim. Say it again.
Every day. Like we have 2 women brewers, and it just happens that way because they're like, well, why do you have a women brewer? Did you choose your assistant brewer because she's a woman? And I'm like, I chose her because she went to school for brewing. And I trust her. And she was already on staff.
But you know what? Who gives a if you did? You can.
That.
Absolutely.
This is
that
really
would have been
good.
my
You made
answer.
this?
No, because I wanted to. It's my business.
Yeah, that's my short answer.
So on the way here, I had a friend that said, "Don't ask them if they like glitter in their beer." And so I had another friend though that said, "What if they do? Is that a bad thing?" And I'm like, "No, because we can like whatever we want." I have friends that like sours and I have friends that don't. I have friends that like stouts and I have friends that don't. And sometimes they have a penis and sometimes they do not. It doesn't really matter. Like people like what they like.
Right. Well, and that's yeah, keep going. Sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
That's okay. That was my frustration. Go ahead, Megan, and then we'll go to a break.
Well, I was gonna say that is my biggest peeve with the beer industry. It's like it's beer, and you just like what you like, and it doesn't matter, and everybody's different, and so who cares? Just enjoy it. Yes. If I don't have the IBUs memorized and the whatever it just tastes good, and you drink it and smile. Like, oh my God, like it's not brain surgery. Shut up. Because you know everything about the general makeup of that beer and you can recite it to me and talk down to me because I'm a woman. I don't know it because I don't care. Beer. You know what I mean? Like, They use mosaic hops in the dry hop, and it was made with citron. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, I think it tastes fabulous, and I'm gonna have another one. But peace, enjoy it. It's not a pop quiz. You're not getting a gold star. Like, what are you trying to prove, other than talking down to me? Okay.
Absolutely. So
Sorry.
we will be back in just a moment. Well, in just 10 minutes.
And short
For
comments.
round 2 of Drinking While Female. Thank you, ladies. Welcome back to Better on Draft. This is our special edition Drinking While Female episode. I'm going to go quick around to see what everyone is drinking. I am still drinking the Tropical Grenade from Rochester Mills Brewing Beer Company. It is fantastic. I love the coconut in it. And I'm obsessed with milkshake IPAs right now. So they did a fantastic job on that one. Dani?
I'm still on Eastern Market Brewing's Elephant Juice. This is my number 2 right now. And it's my last one in my fridge, and I'm very, very sad about it.
Oh no. I'll bring you some.
And,
That's awesome. Molly?
I am just got a refill of my Vienna lager at Railtown. It's called Gentle Lover. Long story behind that one. Don't need to go into it.
Jasmine?
Pineapple Market Day, Eastern Market Brewing. I didn't even know this was on tap. I was reading the list because like I'm at the brewery and I was like, Pineapple Market Day, what is that? So yeah,
What
so I
is
got
it?
such an IPA. It's okay. I mean, I don't taste the pineapple as much as I thought I would. It tastes like Market Day.
Megan?
Hi. I am drinking, actually, it's technically not a beer. It's a seltzer.
Oh,
The raspberry mango to smooge lab from home
Oh.
here in town.
Is that a new flavor?
Yeah.
Oh.
This was the last one they did. So I don't know if you guys, so they just post them online in their story. Just give you like a teaser and you have like 4 minutes to order it. or you this.
I see.
And it's crazy. This is it.
Which is why I have to get them for my beer
Oh.
fairies.
so
Yeah.
good. It's
Well,
so
you know,
good.
we distribute smooge regular, the strawberry banana and the pina colada out in the wild. So occasionally we get some little extras with it. I love that.
That
Oh.
is the one that I've had is the pina colada, and it's amazing. I know why
Yeah.
people pay attention to smooge.
Oh, yeah.
Kim, what are you
Cocktail.
drinking?
I am drinking my second Beanball Blonde. Love coffee beer.
All right.
Yeah, so
Hard to serve it.
my husband brought me that and I gave him, I'm like, I'm supposed to be drinking beer, not seltzer.
It's okay.
So I
It's
have
all
another
good
one on
here.
deck.
You
I
can
have,
drink
I have a Hot Butcher double IPA. That'll be my next.
transparency. I also have a glass of scotch. So
Go.
because I'm at
Hey.
a conference and there's an open bar going on right now that
There you
I'm
go.
but I'm in here. So
Yeah.
Dani, why don't you start us out?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Dani, why don't you go ahead and start us
Oh,
out
I'm
with our
sorry.
next
I
topic?
didn't hear you. Okay. So I was reading something from a publication called the Growler magazine. And I think that this took place in, I'm not quite sure, but the point of it was that there was a brewers competition and certain beers with like sexist names. For example, because you're gonna love these.
Oh, great. I can't wait.
Thong remover,
Yep.
panty dropper,
That's
and-
not great.
pearl necklace were able to win in competitions, but their names wouldn't be published as winners. And predictably, obviously, this made the beer dudes very upset and said very many obvious things like women need to take a joke and this is just for fun and why are you so serious and why do you think that such vitriol, like such animosity, such defense of obviously useless names like this are still happening? This was 3 years ago. This shouldn't be happening anymore.
What's happening?
I mean, it's still happening. Like, there's still like can art with like all this, just like, why is this still happening? What can we do about this? Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think it goes back to what we said before. I mean, it was all men all the time. And, as more people of color and women got involved, they started being like, what is going on? Why is this happening? And so basically getting called to the carpet for their behavior and what they're doing. And it's just not necessary. Like, it's really not necessary. So my guess is that is why it's not happening as much as it used to, but it's still, there's plenty of male dominant areas where this is still happening.
In your distribution, like you see a lot of can art, and as an artist, I mean, this is something that you're keenly attuned to. So when you see something like this, like, I mean, is it like,
especially our European stuff, like when we would get stuff from Europe, like some stuff would show up and I would take it out and I'd be like, hell no, no. And I was like, we're not going to order this again. And then was like, and they're like, well, people love this beer. I'm like, I don't care. It's unnecessary. Like, there's a difference between, and and I'm an art major for Pete's sake. I used to draw people naked. Like, there's a difference between it being artistic and whether it's art or if it's just being repulsive for the sake of shock factor. I'm like, and I'm a strong believer. It's like the beer needs to speak for itself.
Right.
If the beer is not good enough, like you're using this can art to get someone to try your beer.
Yeah, it's not going to fix the beer. Yeah.
And it's like, you need to let the beer speak to it. Don't get me wrong, I love a beautiful label, but it's got to be, it's just as good in the can as it is on the outside.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think it speaks to, again, coming back to the industry being so young, it speaks to the fact that our industry is growing and we're starting to call people out. And as our industry grows, it gets more diverse because the world is diverse. Yep. So yeah, crazy. Yeah. And so like, I think Megan kind of hit it, but like, who's at the table? When I like see things like, who was sitting at that table that said, yeah, great idea. Let's do that. Yeah. Not like somebody made that and spent time doing it. Yeah. Somebody approved that, got it printed. Someone printed it, put on a can, and no one said anything.
Right.
Well, there's always baffled by it. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
The brewers would know. I forget that magazine that came out with the big spread of the girl that was naked in the brewery.
Oh yeah, it was like
her and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And they were just said it was artistic, and I was like, that's a bunch of crap.
Our brewer shakes their head no.
I'm sure it's like all my female brewer friends are just like, okay, besides the fact that you can't do any of that, it's so unsanitary. Like, no. Like, you would never be that naked around this equipment, number one. But like, no, like, why? And it like you said, it went through it was a huge, like a multi-spread thing. And then we're like, how did this happen? How did this go out there? Like,
that's who's at the table.
Who approved this? And then there was another, there was an article. Oh God, what was that? That little publication. Oh God, that it's liquor stores and stuff. It's like a newsletter. It was like an international,
like a little newspaper. I know what you're talking about.
It kind of looked like the Trader Joe's advertisement thing. I forget what it's called. And there's a guy in there who would always write. He had his special corner where he wrote his article, and it literally was basically talking about raping a girl. And it was just like, what the hell?
No.
That was like years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
It got proofread. It got published. It got printed. And it's just like, what?
So I do have a question. I have a couple questions actually based on the conversation that we've been having. One, how does the names and the labels on the beer, does that stop you from drinking it? Kim, you've mentioned a few times you love coffee beer. Does it bother you to drink a bean flicker?
I don't.
Oh, you don't?
I don't.
On point of it's
on the point of the name of the beer, I don't drink it.
Okay.
I like the beer. I've had it before, but it really frustrates me.
Yeah. I mean, I won't say the brewery, but there is a brewery I will not drink their beer. If it's, I will drink anything else but that brewery's beer because of how they've handled numerous situations. I will not support it. I will not buy it. I won't.
We have to vote with our dollars, right? I'm like, when we're
Absolutely.
out, like every time you pay for that beer that you feel funny about maybe drinking, you are supporting it. Every
Mhm.
single time you buy it, you're supporting it.
I'm like, I don't, and I can't, I can't pretend I don't know. I know, I am an open book. I can't. You know,
I mean, okay, being a person that has a heavy, heavy hand in naming a lot of the beers that go through Guardian, I'm not going to say that we don't have some inappropriate conversations about things that would be hilarious to name beers. But are they name beers? No.
no.
No, we filter that stuff out. I was like, yeah, maybe not. Or like maybe something I was like, wouldn't it be funny? No, it wouldn't. I'm like, so it never gets past that table.
Right.
Like we're all 12-year-olds sometimes. I'm like, we're not always the most mature. We have those moments, but that's never supposed to go outside the room onto a label, onto your magnet board or whatever your beer board, get
Right.
approved by the federal government. I'm like, never. It should never get that far.
Right.
Yeah.
And I am not all prim and proper, obviously, by my language I've been using. Someone just told me I'm swearing a lot and I apologize. But our role, it's like I would like, and I'm all about being sarcastic, but there's a time and place and
Yeah.
it doesn't translate. And it's like, just because I know you're kidding, the majority of the people don't. So like, not funny. It's just not funny. Like, oh.
No, and I think it's interesting to me that it happens on can labels, because often when I go to the store, there are a lot of breweries that I've never heard of, and if that's my one and only impression of them, I mean, what does that say? That's the only time I've seen their beer, so that's the impression that they're setting for themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
So I recently read an article that the number one spender at a brewery are women ages 35 to 44, I believe.
Awesome.
So like we
Cool.
spend more money at a brewery average than anybody else does. And yet our marketing is still geared at men 21 to 30. Why is that?
Oh,
I don't think all the marketing is, but I think that big like money put into marketing is. I think that social media, like Megan was saying, has really changed the game. Like small breweries like ours, like we don't really have the money to pay for a lot of marketing, and then B, we don't distribute right now. Like we don't have that kind of license, so there's no point. So I think that you're right that like mass marketing for the highest level is totally trying to hit like the young drinkers, but I'm not surprised that women in that age bracket are big spenders. We know what we want and we think we're worth it. So we're going to go out and buy that good bottle of something because we're worth it.
yeah.
Absolutely. And we know what good beer is.
Yeah.
Yes.
When I was laughing when you said, yeah, one of my favorite things is when I have a friend say, well, I don't really like beer. And I was like, challenge accepted.
Yeah, I do the
I'm
same
like,
thing.
you just haven't had the right one. Because guess what? I got a million. And they
I have a
drink
friend
like
that calls me the beer
champagne. They
whisperer.
drink like what? Like, you have no idea, sister. You cannot tell me that and walk out of here. And it's like, I've converted so many people into beer drinking and I love it. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
And that's another thing I was going back to the whole social media and all that stuff. And because I also worked in advertising, so the Bud Light and the Coors Light and all that egomaniacal, oh my gosh, all those people. I worked with them, they're outstanding. But yeah, when we started and I was like, and I had to do these beer descriptions and it's like, oh my God, like really? You guys know, you've read those beer descriptions when it's like the notes and I'm just like, oh my God. Like, and it's like 5 paragraphs and you're like, it's a Berliner. Can we just like break it down to the basics? Like the ABV, what it tastes like if it was made with local produce or whatever. It's like, tell the story, but you don't have to be so full of yourself that you sound like a jerk. Because that's my thing. It's like, for me, when I joined, I was super intimidated because I didn't have the knowledge like everybody else did. I wasn't a brewer by trade. And, my husband's a Cicerone and he's been doing it for 20 years. So like, there is no way I will ever be at the level he is because I just haven't like I said, I don't care about certain things of that nature. That's just not my bag. Like I care more about the story that goes into the beer and how it was made and why and all that kind of stuff and just what it tastes like. That's all you really truly care about. You don't need to talk down to me and tell me the notes and the back end and blah. I mean, yes, it is good to taste things and do all those proper things, and there's a time and place, but like overall it's like, oh my God, just get out of your own way. Can we just have a beer and have fun? Like, wow. Doesn't have to be that hard. Doesn't have to be. So I try to make it much more approachable. Like you can drink craft beer and you don't have to take a course in order to drink it and enjoy it and appreciate it, and make it more approachable and more friendly. And like I said, like make people that weren't necessarily willing to try a beer before try one. And so that's all I care about.
I mean, that's one of the reasons I like our brewery. You can hear from our head brewer, you can hear from all our brewers. We talk a lot about the fact that it's just beer, and like we keep reminding people because we're growing really fast. We're like, hey y'all, here. It should be fun. It should bring people together, and like that's the goal. And good beer does that. Good beer is fun. Good beer brings people together. It does all those things, and I'm just really grateful to be somewhere where we still don't take beer too seriously. But if you want to have that conversation, we can have a conversation. And it's really exciting because like when you do talk about like more details, you help educate your audience because they're like, actually, I really do like New England's. And now like when I come here, I'm going to get New England's. But actually, Jasmine, I like double New England's, and I don't really like New England's. I like that double because, you know, a little booziness makes it a little sweeter. And people start learning about like the beer, and it's like a conversation, and that's like the communal part of it. And it's fun to geek out about beer, but like you can leave it at home and it gets old. But yeah, being non-pretentious about beer and meeting people where they are and having conversations is really cool.
Yeah, and because we do a lot of imports on that stuff. We sell some really expensive high-end beers like Cantillon and things of that nature, and so you can get some full-on woo. Like, dude, chill. Like, yikes.
You know that's the best part about Cantillon? If you ever find yourself in Belgium, go. And it's like the most not pretentious thing ever. So like Kate and I went, we bought a bottle, we shared our bottle with like 3 other, pre-COVID, shared our bottle with like 2 or 3 other couples. 2 of them are from Michigan. Of all the things, we're sitting in the middle of Belgium, we're drinking with people from Michigan. So like,
Tell me it was Elaine. Please tell me it was Elaine.
I don't remember what their names were. We talked about this earlier. It was just a really sweet couple that like grew up somewhere on like the west side of Michigan. And I was like,
okay, not that, but that would have been awesome.
It was the most normal, casual, and we're drinking like some of the finest beer ever made. Yeah, but it was beautiful.
Cool.
Yes.
I went on a cruise in the Caribbean, and we stopped in Cozumel, and I had recently read that they had just opened the first brewery in Cozumel. And I had already made friends with the owner of a beer bar there, and he actually texted me because he saw that I had posted I was at the brewery and didn't make it to his beer bar. Yeah. So because I was doing it, it was my first time like getting off the ship by myself, and I was just like, I'm going to go to this brewery no matter what. And I started talking to the girl that was serving me beer, and it turns out she was from Muskegon, Michigan, and she ended up teaching diving there and met this man who wanted to start a brewery, and she is brewing beer with him in Cozumel. It's amazing.
Awesome.
The people that
So
you
cool.
meet just talking to people in a brewery.
Life goals.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, speaking of all the different people that you meet, we have a lot of women's groups in Michigan. I know that everybody's seen the Pink Boot Society International Brew Post. Obviously, Jasmine is drinking some. I think it's amazing. It's so awesome that we have so many different places that we can go to talk to each other and not be mansplained about beer. Groups like Fermenta and Girls Pint Out, the Divas, And I believe we've got a Pink Boot Society actual chapter starting in Michigan,
Yeah.
which is really exciting.
Yeah, I'm starting that.
Finally.
So my
There's
question
actually
for
one
you
already.
guys,
Did you know? Sorry. Go ahead.
is there one in Michigan already? I know they were,
Yeah,
I just
Grand
got an
Rapids
email
has
about
one.
starting a new one.
So
Yeah.
Grand Rapids has one, but as far as I know, they haven't done anything. So we literally are just starting a Southwest,
Southeast Michigan.
yes, Southeast. Sorry, I was talking about Grand Rapids, so I said Southwest, Southeast Michigan Pink Boots. Yes,
Yeah.
we literally just got approved like a week ago.
Cool.
That's awesome.
I paid for my membership.
So I want to ask you guys about your experiences with some of these groups, and I want to start with Molly because I actually met her through Fermenta, and so which is how I found out how awesome she is. So I wanted to ask her about some of her experiences with these.
So to be completely honest with you, I am way behind the ball here. I just recently joined Fermenta, just because I haven't had time, to be honest. But I actually got involved with it through GRCC. So I am starting teaching classes now, the brewing class at GRCC. And my coworker, Allison, and I are trying to get involved in everything that we possibly can. So now we're like 2 female teachers in the brewing industry, which is really cool. So I'm very new to it, but one of my good friends and college roommate, Pauline Knighton, is one of the founders of Fermenta. So it's truly a shame that it's just now getting involved in this. But here I am, I've made it. That was my first Fermenta meeting experience, but I've heard nothing but great things, and they just do cool stuff all the time. They're doing collabs constantly. I would love to have them here, to host. So looking forward to getting more involved there.
Yeah, they're great. I'm also in that as well.
Me too.
We got some folks here in the brewery right now. It's like, oh yeah, Fermenta's here.
Yep. That's so cool.
Hell,
Yeah,
I
it's
said
super
hi.
cool. That's one amazing thing in the beauty of women. So Pink Boot started is brewer based.
Mhm.
And then Fermenta started so they could add people that weren't just brewers, but so they could add meat,
Enthusiasts and
eateries, ciders, liquor,
Right.
any fermentable stuff. And then now, God love them, Pink Boots realize that this is kind of ridiculous. So they've actually opened up their membership to include the same people that Fermenta do as well. And that was one of those things where, because of me, what I do, I'm not a brewer and I'm not whatever. So I didn't even think I could join Fermenta. And then I got yelled at by Annette May, love her.
I got yelled at by Annette too.
Yeah, she's like, you can join. What are you talking about? And I was like,
okay, here's my credit card. Yeah.
I just assumed. I don't know. And so so that was it. And so yeah, she's amazing. But yeah, she talks everybody into it. She's great that way. But yeah, that was one of the my first moments, because when we did it was an international Women's Day, and Horrocks, Carly, God love her, she created this panel of women to talk with the Girls Pint Out in Grand Rapids to do this event at Horrocks. And so it was a panel made of women, including the fabulous Kim. So were you just starting when that happened, or had you?
Yes, I think we were like 3 months old.
Yeah, you were you were a baby. You're a baby.
Wee little thing.
That was one of those things. So at the time we were working with Witch's Hat, and Aaron from Witch's Hat was going to be on the panel. And then Courtney Berg, who worked at Batch Brewing, who's one of my good friends in a brewery we distribute, who created the Dick Smasher beer that hopefully you guys all know. They were both going. And I was like, well, I'm a woman. I want to go. I was like, but it was one of those things where I was like, can I? And Mike's like, go. And I was like, oh yes, I'm going to go. I'm going to go. I'm going to bring people with me. So I texted Annette. I was like, do you want to take a road trip? Because this is when we could be around people. So then I ended up wrangling. So Annette May came, and then Carrie Dahlhofer, who owns Bee Nectar, and then her head of her tap room, Miranda. And then I don't know if you guys know Johanna. She's the quality control over at Jolly Pumpkin. She had literally just moved here the week before from St. Louis. She worked at Perennial, And Annette was like, she just moved here. Can she come? I'm like, I don't care. She can get my car. Let's just go. And so we literally like drove over to Grand Rapids like a hurricane. And you guys had that panel. It was amazing. It was Kim and Courtney and Hannah from Waypost. And I'm blanking on it. And then Aaron from
Mandy was there from
from
Grimsby.
Grimsby. And Brewery Revant. And who else? There was a couple. It was amazing. It was just such a fun thing. And like I called Whitney from Speciation. I was like, get your ass over here, because she is like the silent worker at Speciation. No one even knows she exists, but it's her and Mitch. It's not just Mitch. And so I was like, everybody come, like, let's get all the girl. Like, and that's the other thing. That's what I love about this is like, I love to toot other people's horns that won't toot their own horns. It's like, they're just so silently working and working all the time and they don't care. And I'm like, I'm gonna call you out. You're coming. And so we got together. It was super awesome. And it was just great to get all these females together and just talk. And we all have so many things in common. It was just so much fun just to talk about stuff. And one of my favorite things that was said that evening was Hannah from Waypost. When she was walking in, a guy saw a sign for this International Women's Day thing, and he's like, International Women's Day. And Hannah was like, yeah. She's like, I'm going to go talk. And he's like, well, when's Men's Day? And she was
There's always one.
She's like, every day.
Tomorrow.
Can we just have one day, please? Thanks.
God.
Bye. And I was just like, oh my God. Yeah. Like that's what we're doing. But anyway, we're making strides.
Megan, I wish I knew you could have wrangled me to go.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved that.
Yeah. Next time, we're going to do it.
That story. And I wish that I had known all of you at that point.
Yeah.
I know.
And I'm just like, who are these people?
And like
I
Nick,
didn't know anybody.
I was being tortured by Facebook and my Instagram posts, like memories. I was like, we're going to do this again. We are going to do this again. Darn it. It was amazing. And wonderful.
That's so
It
cool.
would be awesome if we could do this live.
Yeah.
So, Jasmine, I actually met you last year for an International Women's Day beer. Well, I don't even think it was International Women's Day. I think we were just brewing
Gretchen Whit beer.
the Gretchen Whit beer.
Nice.
And it was with Fermenta and the Divas. So, what are some of your experiences with those two groups?
It's for me, it's affirming. It's just affirming that like I belong here, that we're out here, because like, you can be in a day and go to different breweries and, representation matters. And so when you see folks all in one place, you're like, oh yeah, you like beer too. We like beer. We all like beer. Okay, I forgot that we were all out here. Things were coming together. I'm just gonna go back in my corner. So like these kind of affinity groups are really important to come together to remind us that we're not by ourselves, and for fun too. And yeah, I love it, and it's a really great time.
So it was really funny because my 82-year-old grandma has Alzheimer's,
Yes!
and she came and brewed with us last year.
Oh,
And this year, Barb Baker, our Siren of Stout, brought her daughter to brew, and we have very similar pictures. I want to post pictures of my grandma cleaning out the mash and Barb's daughter doing it. 'Cause
Barb's
it's
mom was
awesome
here
that
too.
it's like, her mom is amazing. Let's be honest. So, one of the articles that goes around every year at this month so this year is a little bit more specific, but I've been seeing it every year for however many years I can imagine, is how women dominated the beer brewing. This year, they got more specific in the fact that they were accused of being witches, and that's when the men took over.
yeah.
Basically because, they were making money at it, and men don't like us to make money on our own. At least they didn't. They didn't. That's not necessarily the way it is now. But the story was, I got it from the Smithsonian magazine, but it was for The Conversation. And it was written by Lakin Brooks, who's a doctoral student of English at the University of Florida. and it tells us about how the alewives, which do you guys call yourself alewives, our brewers here?
No, I like it
Okay.
though.
Cool name. Yeah.
It
Very
is a cool name, like,
So
but
cool.
I still will dig it. About how that we have them to thank for the iconic pointy hats, cauldrons, and cats
Mhm.
that are associated with witches today.
Mm.
Which, and it, of course, it talked about how the men used those icons to accuse them of witchcraft, which made them shy away from brewing so that they could take over and make the money. So I'm wondering if you actually believe that lore, or do you find it all just a bunch of hocus pocus?
I'll let everybody else talk first, but I just want to talk about Ninkasi and the beer gods in Samaria. But we can talk about the witches, and I'm just like, ooh, what about the beer god?
Personally, I think every single one of those things makes perfect sense. Like the tall hat so they can see you in the market, the cauldron to stir the stuff,
Here.
the cats to eat the mice that were going to eat your grains or whatever. It all makes sense. It tracks.
Okay, Danny. That was very logical.
It's got legs.
Yeah, it's true. It's yeah.
It is true.
Yeah.
I think the cauldrons were like they're serving. That's where they served it from. They weren't even making it there. It was already made, and they were just serving it from the cauldrons or something in the
It
market.
was like the soup pot. You walked around with your hat.
Yeah,
Hey,
and you
that's
get a ladle.
Beer here. Yeah.
and you'd walk on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just think
it's
all
logical.
Totally.
Yeah, like every year it gets more logical. Like,
Yeah.
Was it Tara Noonan is writing a book right now on this exact topic.
Oh.
The pre-sale for it is out. I was like, she's with the Pink Boots Society. She's an officer right now. Speaking of
Oh.
Pink Boots Society. Don't have the title in front of me, but it has to do with this. It has to do with witches and brewing, and so
Very
she did
cool.
like this whole long research on it. But yeah, she's doing a pre-sale for her book right now. Can't wait to read it. It
Yeah.
does seem incredibly logical. And
Right?
yeah, women were brewing the beer. Women were making all the things that a household would
Yeah.
taste and eat, and that sort of thing.
They were
Girl, we always have been. Are you kidding?
Always.
Yeah.
So it's just so logical. I feel like every year it just gets a little bit deeper and even more believable.
Mhm.
It was the first
So I'm
roadie.
in.
The very first roadie.
Mhm.
Walking and drinking. They weren't driving, they were walking.
So in honor of Women's Month, when International Women's Month, whatever it is this month, in honor of us, Gear Patrol put out an article. Of course, it was written by a man, but I think he did a pretty good job of the 10 best beers made by women. I did put a little note in my margin that
I missed
says,
that one. I need to look it up.
as told by a man, haha.
Yeah, like I'm over here like,
So he brought it out just in time for International Women's Day on March 8th. So the 10 beers that he focused on were Jagged Mountain Brewery, Base's Loaded Kolsch out of Denver.
She's awesome.
Oh.
She
I've
is
heard
awesome.
that too.
Yep.
Fifth Hammer Brewing Smoke and Comb from Long Island.
You gotta say Long Island.
I can't do that. I wish I could.
No,
I'm horrible at accents. And Guinness Open Gate Brewery Blonde from Baltimore, which she just started brewing there, didn't she? I'm pretty sure they just opened like a year or two ago in Baltimore for Guinness. New Belgians La Folie, which I probably didn't say that right. Which I actually tried to find it for this show because I love that beer.
Oh, it's so good.
Yes.
La Folie.
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 La Folie. Yep.
I'm horrible at accents.
Yeah.
Talia Beer Company, Sun Up from New York. New York. The Santa Andreas Rustic Ale Saison Bernice from Capitola, California.
She's amazing.
The Three Weavers Brewing Company Expatriate West Coast IPA out of LA. the Harlem Brewing Company Renaissance Wit from Harlem. Keeping
And
together
she's
the
black,
art.
I think.
I'm sorry, say that again.
And I think she's the one of the only female black brewery owners there. I think I could be wrong.
So
Cool.
all of these beers are brewed by women.
Right.
According to this
remember
article.
reading an article about her being. I could be wrong, but I think it's also a black woman, which is an awesome, huge deal.
Keeping together the art of holding space. I think it's
It's Avery. Avery.
Yes.
Yeah. Balls.
Yes, she came from Jester King, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
And the Hopewell Brewing Company First Pills from Chicago.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, how do you guys feel about that list, and what beers did they overlook?
I mean,
Railtown Brewing.
So many beers.
yeah, we have to
many-
call it
okay,
out. The fact
so-
that we're saying like all these beers by women, like you said, Kim, before, women brew great beer every day.
All the time.
They're comparing a wit with a pilsner with a West Coast with a like.
Yeah.
Just pick
That
one
is
style if this is what you're gonna do. Like I don't
Or
understand.
Honestly, I would pick 10 per region.
Yeah,
Well, I noticed
10
that
here,
he
10
was
here,
very
10 here.
coast oriented.
Mm.
So I guess I should be more specific in that question. I would like you to tell me a beer by a woman brewer that you feel we need to try.
Oh God.
So,
And it could be one of yours. I'm okay with that
mhm.
because you guys
So-
are listening too.
We have a woman brewer. I haven't talked about Clara because like it doesn't really affect what we do. Like she's a brewer. Happens to be a woman and she's a fucking badass. And our brewers are super cool. That Gretchen Witt beer though, that we collabed on, Wendy, with the Draft Divas and Fermenta, like it was a lot of fun, but like it was a good fucking beer. People came in and they're like, "Where's the Gretchen Witt beer?" We were like, "Oh, that was a collab. We just like did that. We weren't really planning on brewing it again, but people kept coming back for it, and so like we need to put it back on." So I'm
was a
gonna
good beer.
shout out Clara.
Even Graham liked it, and Graham doesn't like beer.
Hey, Graham.
So what about you, Molly? How do you have somebody that you think is an amazing beer that you think we
Yeah.
should try?
Honestly, I don't know a whole lot of other women brewers out there, to be completely honest. And I mean, the only thing I can say is like to drink one of my beers, because I am really proud of the product that we put out. And of course, like it's not just a one-man game, so it's typically like you know, we'll collab on recipes and stuff, but when they're just solely my recipes, that's really exciting for those beers to get released.
That's cool.
And it is cool. And I love too that we have like these mug covers. I used to bartend next door. So people would ask me over and over again, they're like, "Is this a Molly beer? Is this a Molly beer?" And they just get excited about it. So it's always really cool. And the family asks the same thing. Like, I think a lot of my family doesn't necessarily understand that I literally brew our beer. Like, they're like, "Oh, you still working there?" I'm like, "Yup." And like, "Do you work at night?" I'm like, "Nope, I have a really early morning job. I brew everything." So it's like very different from bartending, but they kind of just morph it all into one. But yeah, I don't know if I could pinpoint one. I am really, really proud of one of the IPAs that I just, actually this is the second round. It went over well the first time. So called River Trout IPA. It was inspired. I was actually out in Colorado over the summer, I guess it was, visiting friends and caught my first brown trout, and then, you know, wrote a beer recipe and called it River Trout because brown trout is not an attractive name. So, yeah, so that one, I guess if I had to pick a female brewed beer, that would be the one I'd recommend. And I think, cool, it's a good IPA.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to come and try it.
I know.
Yeah, come try them. That's actually, it's in a fermenter right now, so that'll be out in probably a couple weeks here.
All right.
Awesome.
We'll get that trip scheduled.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
what about
I can
you?
send you guys beers too. We can up everything that's on tap, so we don't
Oh, I like
distribute.
it. I like
We
that
just
too.
can write whatever is on tap. So I can certainly, we make something happen.
Cool.
Awesome.
And what about you? Is it a beer of yours, or do you want to tout somebody else? You can do both if you want.
I've really been trying to visit as many breweries in Michigan as I could, like as I can. My partner and I love to do that. So I think we've only been to about 90 here. We had
Only?
been-
I'm sorry.
Nice.
Only?
only because by the time we left Colorado, we had been to about
Slacker.
300 and something,
Oh, that's awesome.
350, and we hadn't been to all of them. So it's really important, I think, as a drinker, I love going to see all the breweries. Like, even if it's whatever, it doesn't matter where, even if it's way out there, even if somebody has a feeling one way or the other about it, I want to go visit. So I think of like other women-owned, women-brewed breweries in Michigan, and there really are not that many. But next time you're up in Traverse City, go to Rare Bird.
Oh, I know.
Oh, I love them.
This is my call out. Like, I want Guardian to do a collab with Rare Bird.
Hey, I'll put that on social.
Yep,
I'll put that on social.
I know you're all out there. I'm like, I love it. Your beer's great. I'm like, you're great. Your pub's great. Food's great. I'm like, it is the trifecta of like, you walk in, you feel the soul of a space, great beer, great food. I love that place.
I love that place. So, real quick before we get to Megan, I do want to mention that the Michigan Brewery Map app is available that you can use when you are out trying to visit all of the breweries in Michigan. What I really like about it is that it will save where I've been, because I have been to a few, and I have to search through my hashtag on Instagram to see if I've been there before sometimes. So I'm really excited that I can actually save where I've been, and it will give me a list. And I used it in Grand Rapids the other day, and it was pretty fantastic that we were able to pinpoint who had patios that were open, who had food that we could go to, because it was before they actually opened back up, and you can get inside. So it's a pretty useful app. I like it, and it's free. So
What did you say it was called? I need this.
It is Michigan Brewery Map app.
Okay.
I like that.
And you can find it on the Better on Draft page.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Link to it.
Yep.
Awesome.
They're always asking for updates from breweries too, which I really like.
Yeah.
Seems like their stuff's just.
They really care. They want to make sure everybody gets the best experience possible.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Can I ask? I always like to ask people when I do an interview, like, what's your like bucket list beer? Like, I would love to get my hands on, and I know I can. I will eventually, but like Pliny the Elder, Heady Topper. I don't really go out of my house a lot, so like, I would love to go to wherever those are from. I don't know, but
Pliny's from California.
Thank you. Now I know that. Okay.
For sure.
But like, what would you really love to get your hands on or get from the source?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I feel like I've had a lot of the whales, a lot of the, like, I've just been around the right people at the right time. Like, I remember being at GABF and someone's like, Jim Cook's pouring Utopias right now if you can run fast enough. And I'm like, I can run fast enough.
I can
So, you know, like, I feel like I've been very lucky. So my goal is to find like all the really old styles from other countries that like nobody's drinking anymore, but somebody's been making them for like 100 years. You know, they're gonna be awesome. Like satis, like stuff that's like poured through juniper trees and like, I don't know, you know, just like really, really hyper local styles from all around the world that people aren't making anymore. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I'm pretty.
I want sorghum beer. I want like stuff that people are starting to get into again, but like really historical, classic stuff made by the people that live there.
You know, Brewery Becker brews a couple of satis. Sorry, I know that we met them at the I think the Fall Beer Festival 2019, and they said they brewed satis there. We went there a couple months ago and they didn't have one on tap, but I'm sure if you check, they could. They're in Brighton.
What are you talking about? Sorry.
Oh, Brewery Becker.
Brewery Becker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very cool.
So you should try a Scratch out of, I think it's Ava.
Yeah.
They're amazing, and they have a female brewer, and they do these crazy topics, and they literally scavenge wherever they live to make their beer, and it's
so
amazing.
cool.
It's amazing.
That's
Like,
cool.
I'm pretty lucky and spoiled that I've gotten because of the exporters we work with. So like for Cantillon, like I've got to hang out with John Van. He poured me beer at Shelton Fest with his son. Like he is the nicest, most down to earth person you could ever meet, and it's literally he's like, I don't even know what you would call him, not Mick Jagger. Like he's like the ultimate rock star of lambic and beer and people. Like I just remember I stood there with my hands in my pockets and I was like, just be cool, fine. Oh, fine. Cause he's like, what would you like to have? I was like, oh my God, I'll get anything you want to give me. I'll drink it. I don't care. And he's like, this is my son, and da 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 da. And I was like, oh my God, I'm dying. But I was gonna say, so awesome female brewers. So Adair out of Santa Darius, it's in Santa Cruz, California. She's an amazing human, amazing person. The brewery does amazing things in California. Any of their beers are beautiful. And then Avery, she now lives in Chicago, but she used to be one of the head brewers over at Jester King. And so it's, well, and you guys know you work in breweries. So it's like, even when you're the head brewer, you still have help. So I don't know which beers they specifically did. Especially with those guys, because they all like bottle them and then
You're showing
They
the
don't
lights off
know
on
you're
me.
you need to move. The sun's
The
going.
lights on. I'm gonna yell at somebody.
I don't know what beers they brewed specifically, but Avery, who's in Chicago, she does small batch bottles, and she is, oh God, what's the highest level? A master cicerone. She's one of the only
Cool.
Very cool.
men,
I'm at
and
the
she's
very
like,
start of that, thanks
she's
to
like the nicest,
Fermenta.
lovely woman ever. But I was gonna say, as far as I haven't had your beers, and Molly, I haven't had your beers, and we haven't had any beer festivals for me to try your beers, but I can't wait. But I would say the one female in Michigan, Hannah from Waypost, like I will never forget the Fooder Lager at Detroit Beer Fest.
Dude, the Fooder Lager changed my mind, like changed my life.
I was like,
March of last year, right before the world ended, and I have been craving it ever since.
I want a photo so bad.
I was
Right
like,
down the street from me.
I was like, this is the best beer ever. And then I started telling everybody, and then I was like, wait a minute, stop telling people, because then they're gonna drink it, and I don't get to have any more samples. So I was like, I'm not telling you.
I've seriously thought that at Beer Fest before.
It was so good. Wow, it was amazing. So
There's
good.
That's like a
small world.
catch-22. Go ahead, Jasmine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Small world. One of my teammates from high school, she started a cask ale program in Baltimore with Union Craft Brewing. She's one of their brewers, Lynn Pernovas. I message her every so often. Haven't seen her in years, but I was like, man, we went to high school. I'm from Maryland. We went to high school together, and now like you're a head brewer and you brew cask ale. That's like really fucking cool.
That is very, very old English. That's so cool. They hardly use that in England, you know?
Yep.
Specialty, like, knowledge. That's amazing.
Yeah. And we just happen to be from the same town and played softball together.
Awesome.
That's so cool.
That is cool.
What sort of thing, Molly, would you like to get your hands on?
Oh goodness. I love to go through, and this is just purely like I want to know the like the commercial examples of specific styles of beer.
Okay.
So really the only resource I have for that is like the BJCP, you know, guides. And I love to go through the lists on those and find as many of those beers as I can find, because I want to find like the original, what it was supposed to taste like then, and can I recreate that?
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's a huge challenge, because it is so hard to find a lot of those beers. We had at school, they were able to, I don't know how, but they were able to get their hands on a lot of beers for the sensory class. So I had a lot of those while I was there. And since then it's been like a personal mission to find them. So that's all I look for. And you find them at places you wouldn't expect, which is kind of the cool part. So
the hunt
so the hunt is always on.
Wow.
What
That's
beer
awesome.
in particular? I just said
Oh goodness. So I'll just give you the most recent. we just brewed a Doppelbock a few months back, and it was our first like big lager. And so I went through, and I mean, there's probably a list of 5 or 6 that I could probably find for you right now. And I don't know that I pronounce them correctly.
Okay.
Might be an issue.
So
But let me see it.
When we first
Yep.
started, we only had our Shelton portfolio, and almost, I would say 80% of it was European. And
Was it really?
I can't pronounce any of these things. I mean, we were like Sahipaha, we have beers from Estonia. I'd be like the one with the pear. Because I'm a art person, like I would memorize the labels and stuff.
Right. That's what I do. I look for
I
the label
can't-
now.
I'm
'Cause
like,
I have to Google it first.
I can't
I
pronounce
had a friend that had us looking for a beer with a cherry on it for probably 2 years. It
Oh my-
took before
oh
we
my
found it at Ashley's Beer Fest.
Oh my gosh.
It was,
What was
or
it?
Belgian Fest, not Beer Fest.
Was it just
Um,
a
While
lambic?
you're looking that up real quick, I just want to point out that we got a donation alert. We had a $20 donation from Chris Boyla. I don't know
Oh.
if that's how do you say it.
Viola. That's
Okay.
yeah. My husband.
Aw. That's
Hell
so cute.
yeah!
Aw.
So Better on Draft is going to send that to Fermenta. If you want to donate, you can go to https www.betterondraft.tv and click on the donate button.
Thank you.
That's very
Oh.
cool. Oh, that's
Thanks,
sweet.
Chris.
So
That's cool.
Molly,
Okay, I found these. So one of the ones I was looking for is Trogs Troganator. You know how the
Oh.
Ader name goes. We called this beer we called our Doppelbock the Vaccinator, like very appropriate to the time. I was pretty proud of that one. And also couldn't believe that no one's named a beer the Vaccinator before.
Yeah.
Right?
I like that.
Mind blowing.
Out in the open, yeah.
Okay, so Troganator, there was an Andischer Doppelbock Dunkel and Anger Celebrator, which I had, and I've also had Weinstefaner before. So those are the 3 I've been looking for.
So
That finds the powder at the source. Oh,
Inger, Polliner, and the Spaten Optimator on that list are all
Yes.
for sale at Horrocks in the
Are they really?
Yeah, so I teach I teach a monthly beer school at Guardian.
Yeah. Okay.
But we did 2 beer schools in September this past year. So we did like
Okay.
classic fest beers, and then we did all other random German styles. And so we did like
Oh, cool.
Doppelbock and stuff, and
love German beer.
yeah, goes
Okay.
and whatnot. But yep, Horrocks, they
It's-
got you.
I've probably looked everywhere. I go to Horrocks all the time, so it's really embarrassing that I haven't seen it there yet.
So in like August and September. Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
and I'm in Ohio
okay.
right now, so I'll look for the Trogs for you.
Mhm.
Sweet, thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm like, Pennsylvania, I think,
Um,
they're big, right?
They're
Yeah, I
from
think they-
Pennsylvania,
I
but
think
they
so.
sell it here in Ohio. I only know that because
Right.
Trogs Mad Alpha is my #1 favorite beer ever.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know where
okay.
you are. My partner's from St. Mary. I'm like, just right down the road. You're in a
Right.
lovely, lovely part of Ohio.
Yes. Yes. My parents are from southeastern
certainly
Michigan, so
is.
anytime I need to get my hands on anything,
Yeah.
I go to, they're right by Ohio. So that's, I mean, I go there for, 3 Floyds and whatever else I can't get my hands on here.
Never been to 3 Floyds yet.
I think they actually just closed
They
their
closed.
tap room.
Was it
did.
them? Okay, I thought it was Sun King.
Yeah.
Sure, okay.
No, and I'm surprised by that. I don't know the
Yeah.
whole story there, but
Okay.
Yeah.
Danny, I do want to say you can get Pliny. The last time I was in Colorado, I know you have to go out west. I'm not sure what states they distribute to, but you can get Pliny in Colorado.
Oh.
I need to get like a shipment for my friends there.
Oh, really?
So,
I really
Um,
would love to
Is that
have.
what you want? Do you really want Pliny the Elder? Is that what you're looking for? Because I can
mean-
I can talk to some people.
Because Megan can talk to some people for
Can
us.
I talk to you later?
Offline,
so
offline.
Monk's Cafe in Philadelphia had Pliny the Elder on tap when I was there.
Oh.
But I did make a little magic happen. My beer fairy and I got together with another friend who had a friend in California who managed to get me Pliny the Younger this year,
I saw that
Which-
picture. Yeah.
which was one of my whales. My other one is Toppling Goliath, KBBS. KBBS. Yes.
I'm from Iowa. Did I tell you that part?
I
So close.
it's only a 14-hour drive, and that's the only way you can get there. So I don't know why I haven't done it yet.
Decorah, I actually have family buried in Decorah, Iowa.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, no,
But you've probably had it then, haven't you?
Actually, no, I'm not. I haven't had that one, and it's so funny because it's so weird. Like being from Iowa, yeah. So my favorite Toppling Goliath beers aren't even the big ones that everybody talks about. Like I love Skull and Money. Like it's the random ones you can get at the Hy-Vee, which is our version of Kroger in Iowa. So yeah, so it's just funny. But like,
I have to go to Ohio to get it.
What?
I have to go to Ohio to get anything Toppling Goliath because it's just as far for me to drive to Ohio to get it as it is for me to drive to Oakland or Macomb County to get it.
Where are you in Michigan?
Oh, that's fair enough. Yeah.
I'm
Where
in
you
the
are.
near Wasteland in Garden City.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are getting close to the end of our time period though, so I do want to ask one quick question. What is your guilty pleasure beer? What is the beer in your fridge right now that you are drinking that is not yours?
Oh,
We'll start with Kim this time.
Yeah.
Oh.
You already sound embarrassed.
No, I'm not embarrassed. We have 2 fridges. I'm kind of crazy.
Same.
I definitely
I
get
have
the energy
3.
reports. They're like, you use too much energy. So we have a fridge in the garage and a fridge in the house.
Same.
It's anything from like Mexican lager and Guinness.
Oh
But
yeah.
my guilty pleasure, because my boys in Colorado, is Coors Banquet. I love Coors Banquet. It's what all the brewers drink in Colorado. They're the guys from Coors are so good to the craft brewery. Like people there, like I was able to buy some like refurbished equipment from them, like testing equipment before I left town. Like, so Coors Banquet is definitely my guilty pleasure, but we always got some like Corona and Guinness in the house. And then in the garage, you have the Cancion and the aging, Imperial Stouts.
Yeah.
So we're a weird.
Megan? Oh, sorry.
Me?
Yes.
So my maiden name is Miller.
Okay.
And my nickname in college was High Life for Genuine Draft.
Oh, dear.
The champagne of beers.
I'm a High Life girl.
That's
so.
my guiltiest pleasure. And my favorite beer on the planet was Off Color did a collaboration with Miller called Eek. And so they literally, like Miller, because the head brewer at Off Color, which is a brewery in Chicago that we work with, is so obsessed with champagne. Well, Miller High Life, so the brewers came over there, they brought their yeast and everything, and basically used the ingredients from Miller High Life to make a beer Off Color way. And it's the most amazing thing. So we had 4 bottles, we're down to 1, I think 2, that we hide in a very corner in our little beer cellar. But that's my treasure. But yeah, so Miller High Life definitely would be but I found a substitute. I don't know if you guys have ever had Upland Champagne Velvet.
That was gonna be mine. Oh,
I froze.
Jasmine.
Oh, me?
Yes, Jasmine.
I don't think I'm a beer nerd as much as everybody else. I'm over here like, people put things in front of me and I drink it. So, like Kim, I am a former rugby player as well, which I want to talk to you a little more about. Kim, want to know what position you played. And so, Yingling is something I drank a lot of back in college. And that was like the nice stuff. Drinking Yingling feels fancy.
Right. You're fancy.
So you'll see Yingling and Pressed. Pressed is a seltzer you can get from Costco. And it's really great. And I'm just going to throw that out there.
And Molly.
All right. I'm gonna be completely honest here, and I'm almost ashamed to admit it, but I grew up in a cornfield, so don't judge me too hard.
Molly.
You're from Iowa. Okay. All right. Okay.
Judgment free zone.
There we go. All right. So I grew up drinking, Busch Light,
Yeah.
Bud Light, Coors. I'll drink them all. But my, I think my go-to all the time, guilty pleasure, if I'm gonna drink a beer and I can drink it whenever, it's Bell's Lighthearted. I absolutely love it. It's just easy. It's simple. It's clean. I mean, it's a good beer. And if I'm not drinking that, I drink a lot of seltzer too, to be completely honest with you as well. So, you know.
God, it's great.
I love that. That's a dirtier secret than Miller Lite now.
I can't help it. I just it's light, and sometimes you don't just want to drink. I always want to drink a ton of beer, but yeah.
I know. Yeah.
No, low ABV like water. It's all good.
Yes.
You don't want to
Yes.
feel terrible either.
I need all the boat beers.
Oh my God. So yeah, so that was Winter Beer Fest. Speciation and Drafting Table did a collab called Good Hydration, and it was a Kolsch. And
Yes.
it was no joke. It was good hydration. You literally felt like you were drinking water because at Winter Beer Fest, it's like, oh my God, if someone gives me another stout, I'm gonna vomit.
I'm done.
You know,
Yep.
Oh my God. Like the lowest ABV was like 8%. And it was like, you could pour it out. I was like, no more.
This thick.
I was like, where's
I
cider?
always got your back. Always.
I'm like, I need cider. I need a lager. I need anything. I was like, anything, nothing dark. I don't want any more dark. I can't do it. Yeah. Cause that was another thing. Cause I was not a beer pro. And so the first beer fest I went to
was a winner.
Oh no, it's Summer Beer Fest.
Oh, sorry.
180 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nobody knew me. I was like an enigma. And so they're like, you're Mike's wife. Try this. And I had never been to a beer festival like that. And I have good manners. So I wasn't going to be like, I'm good or no thanks. I'm like,
you learned quick,
like,
didn't
I
you?
didn't know the whole like people just like, or
Yeah, try a sip, toss
All
it out.
the time. Yep.
I didn't even know where water was. So like it was 180 degrees and every brewery, like they're just like shoving. I was like, okay. Cause you're hot and you're thirsty. So you're just drinking whatever. And yeah, I was like, I still remember. Oh my
That's
God.
my favorite beer festival.
All right.
I love
So
it.
we are out of time.
I didn't remember
So-
meeting a lot of people, but I did. Apparently.
We are out of time. Thank you so much, ladies, for coming on. Dani, real quick, what's your guilty pleasure beer?
Oh,
Me?
yeah.
Yep.
Real quick, Hams, Champagne Velvet, Lighthearted, Cerveza Del Rey.
Yes. That's a great one
Alright.
too. Yeah.
Those are fantastic. I'm a High Life girl. I don't buy it very often, but I do when I need it.
I don't.
So thank you so much for coming out, ladies. I really enjoyed it. I hope we get to see you guys on the show again.
Yes.
This would be the wrap for Better on Draft Drinking While Female. I hope we get to do this again sometime. And no matter what you think, wait, hang on, I got to do it right. No matter what beer you think is the best, we think it's Better on Draft.
You can join the boys too. We have no problem with that.
Right?
Thank you so much